we're going to get right into Breece Hall. First run of the season for Breece Hall. We all know what this is. I was there. A lot of you guys were there, I'm sure, as well. You're talking about however big this gain was right off the jump to start the season. We're like, okay, this is awesome. It's really nice to just see 8 under center. But here we go. First run patient. Okay, Jets run duo. Jets run duo. Actually pretty good combo block. Pretty good combo block here. You have Alan Lazard attempting to come and crack the safety. Doesn't really do a good job of it, but Breece Hall does a good job. Obviously takes the handoff, takes a few steps up the field. He sees that safety filling the hole. Tries to get away from the safety. Obviously goes to go to the outside. Sees another defender present himself. Uzama just gets enough hands on to widen him. Breece Hall lowers himself through that gap, pushes through, and then takes off for a good 20 25-yard gain, whatever that was in the first run of the season. But good patience again, closing that ground on that open gap. Sometimes you could just take that, but knowing that he has a crack block right there from Lazard, he's going to let that set in, lets the crack block set in again, gets a little bit to the outside, and then sees that lane being created as Uzama gets hands on, gets extension, obviously runs to the outside for a good gain. We have 83-yard run right here from Breece Hall. Obviously wasn't able to finish it for a touchdown, but a huge run nonetheless. 83 yards. Obviously, we got 13 personnel with 3 tight ends off to the right side. Another duo run. Another duo. And Breece Hall breaks it. Now, I think admittedly, I don't know if he admitted it, but he did run out of gas here. Obviously, first game back from an ACL tear, there's going to be some rust. He has to get his legs under him. But takes the handoff again. The Jets do a pretty good job of blocking here, and the Bills obviously all shoot their gaps or shoot up the field pretty quickly. So if they don't hit them on the first level, it's going to be kind of hard for them to catch up. Sees the opening off of the right side of the defense. Nobody's there. Trey White filling in off the edge, takes it vertical to avoid him, pulls the near leg. Knows Trey White's most likely going to go after the legs, pulls the near leg, high steps. When you do high steps, what does it not allow them to do? Grab that ankle. Goes to grab the ankle, pull the leg out. That's exactly why we want a high step and high leg. Light the near leg, pulls it through, and then obviously we're off to the races. We're off to the races. Safety comes over the top. Poyer comes over the top at a very high angle. Breece Hall undercuts it. Admittedly runs a little bit out of steam, but good job. Again, really, and it looks small, but that if he were to stay heavier on that right leg right there and not time it, he's brought down. It's very important to lighten that near leg, and we talk about that a lot in the running back reviews I do, and for that exact reason. Linebacker, Hall 20-yard screen, aware of the linebacker. Okay. Yeah, just a good feel for the game here. On this screen from Breece Hall. Again, leaks out to the right side. You have Zach Wilson who pumps the flat right there. Breece leaks out. As he's going to leak out, I think he sees that linebacker is standing over the top. He knows the linebacker is going to react to the movement and get outside to try to contain that run. Catches the ball. Got to be careful looking that in. But confirms that linebacker is outside and obviously takes it vertical. Right. So it's just a good job of knowing where that linebacker is most likely going to be. He's not going to guarantee, I'm sure he's not guaranteeing it, or he's not just setting his ways that no matter what, I'm going to take this vertical. I'm just assuming that based on his movement and knowing how linebackers react, he assumes he's going to be outside, checks it, confirms it, takes it vertical. For a nice 20-yard gain on the screen. Hall. 7 yards, I guess. Patient, spatial awareness. Okay. Another heavier set here. 12 person, well, actually 13 with Jeremy Ruckert. We have one back power here. Now he's forced to bubble out a little bit here, unfortunately, because you have Laken Tomlinson who gets pushed into the backfield a little bit, but takes the handoff. He's just pressing this a little bit inside to hope that he opens himself up a little bit. Get these guys to squeeze down on this. Sit a little bit inside, let your combo blocks and all that stuff get to the second level, and then you have the lead block which he wants to follow. Again, he's forced to bubble it out a little bit because Laken Tomlinson is pushed into the backfield, so works around it. Now, obviously, he has again, Laken Tomlinson is pushed into the backfield, so he doesn't want to trip over his legs. So Breece Hall does a good job of taking his right hand, pushing Laken Tomlinson, which obviously propels Laken Tomlinson forward, assists him on his block and his momentum a little bit, but also it keeps Breece Hall's feet clean, right? Because if his hand was on that back, maybe there's incidental contact, knee to knee, ankle to ankle, and he trips. So it's a good job with spatial awareness and knowing that Laken Tomlinson's getting pushed a little bit into the backfield, removing that hand, getting extension off of it, and then accelerating to the outside because the defense crashed pretty hard to the inside. As he does that, obviously Trey White, or I think it's Trey White, maybe it's Johnson, maybe it's Teron Johnson, but he sits a little bit inside. Obviously, there's pursuit coming from the outside. Breece Hall is a guy who tends to bounce it, which is why you get some of the big plays. Sits a little bit high, again, flattens out. Good stiff arm, pulls the leg, again, high knee. Why do we want a high knee? Because if he were to just do a regular stride there, right there, then guess what? He falls. If he doesn't high knee that and pull that through, and he just goes for a regular stride, he's on the ground. So good job with the spatial awareness. Tough 7 yards, or not as they designed it necessarily to go through this gap, because Laken Tomlinson gets pushed through, doesn't allow Hall to squeeze through there. Again, bounce it to the outside. Good spatial awareness, getting the hand on. Hall, no chance. There's a few of these plays I included as well for Hall. Again, when you're evaluating him, you have to obviously realize and come into your evaluation, he only had 900 rushing yards or 994, whatever it was, because the Jets can't count. Understand that he was running behind a god-awful offensive line for most of the season. God-awful. This game, it's not too bad. Okay, we got Tomlinson, we got Tippmann, we got McGovern, we got AVT, we got, okay, we were working with something here, but by the end of the season, obviously, 13 different line combinations wasn't ideal. So let's watch. Single back again. Single back. We have a weak mid zone. There's and again, I think we got into the Tippmann review. I think there's a Tippmann review. We got into one of these reviews where clearly there's a miscommunication between the Jets right here. I would venture to say this is Tippmann in terms of zone blocking here, knowing that McGovern's to your left and zone stepping to your right. We don't want to chase that block to the inside. We have movement, obviously. C and B are filled, and then the guys who are filling the B and C go to A and B. So they have to pass this off. You want Tippmann to obviously pick that up. ABT assumes that Tippmann's going to pick it up. Tippmann does not pick it up. As Breece Hall is getting the ball, there's two guys in the backfield, right? And even ABT here, I would like to see him break down a little bit here and get better push up the arc. So it's not even the best block by ABT, but what chance does Breece Hall have there? This stuff I'm going to show a few times throughout the review. It's like, bad run. Is it a bad run by Breece here, or did he get negative, 4 yards, 5 yards because of his offensive line? Because of the offensive line. Rookie mistake by Tippmann there. I believe this is his first game. Didn't pass it off well. Gonna happen. We did the Tippmann review already. He was plenty fine in his rookie year. Don't worry. He was good. Hall missed cutback, which happens sometimes. I would say that's one of his, if he does have a weakness, there's not many of them. He can miss a cutback or two. He does tend to bounce some runs at times, but here we go. We have I formation. Again, now we have 22 personnel, some heavier run sets in here, but Jets had to do because people stacked the box anyway, and the Jets were forced to run. But they go with a mid-zone, a lead mid-zone here, and situation where Hall takes the handoff, just evaluating the blocks here. He's going to attempt to follow his lead blocker. The problem with his lead blocker is, and the problem with how the Patriots react to this and how the play just unfolds, we have a pretty tight gap here for him. So even while I'm not saying that he needs to cut this run back right now, because you do have inside versus outside, he can evaluate this. Maybe there's some space here for me to squirt through. I would like to see him like slow play it a little bit, because it is obviously quite congested. Eyes peek to the inside, see that this linebacker is filling, and either I'm going to outrace this linebacker to the outside, or I'm going to cut this run back he does have an opportunity here to cut the run back, and there is a pretty big, sizable hole here. Again, very congested. Is he going to be able to squeeze through this? Probably not. Could he put his foot in the ground? Potentially just escape this guy laterally and work up the field? Yeah, I do think he could. So I do think there's an opportunity missed here for Breece Hall, which again, it can happen. Again, evaluating your blocks, pretty congested. That linebacker gets into that gap quickly, see that happening. And at this point, you got to decide, hey, is that open enough for me to cut through? Am I just going to lower my shoulder, or is there a cutback? I don't think it's the worst decision to try to maybe push through it and lower the shoulder there, but there was clearly an opportunity for maybe some bigger yards there. Okay. Now we have a cutback that's a good one. All right. From Breece, now we have a good cutback here. Let's see where he's taking it. Again, single back, 12 personnel again from the Jets. Another mid zone, another mid zone from the Jets. Obviously, more heavy zone team in 2023. I expect them to be more, gap scheme heavy in 2024. Obviously, they'll still mix in zone undoubtedly, but this is a situation where it's obviously less congested here. Breece Hall takes the handoff. First reads this. Okay, that's getting kicked out. First reads that. That's getting kicked out. Eyes go to the inside. Eyes go to the inside. Now, obviously, this is initially he sees the movement. He sees the movement outside here, so he's thinking, okay, I'm gonna hit this BC gap. That's what I'm gonna take the run. As he takes the handoff, he evaluates. Red hat outside. Linebacker filling that gap quickly. Where does he want to go? Kind of similar to the last one, not as similar. The linebacker fills in both. The cutback presents itself a little bit easier here, I would say, than the other one. The other one was more of a hope than like, okay, he absolutely has to cut back. In this situation, he has to cut back. It would be bad vision if he didn't, right? Last one was more of a want. This one's a need. So takes the handoff again, track towards the B gap, see the red fill, put on the brakes, explode off the right instep, getting vertical. Right instep, getting vertical. Hit the gap. Hit the cutback. Take it. Nice little stiff arm there. Still able to bring him down, but a good cutback for 10 or so yards, whatever exactly that was. I wasn't counting if you were. And great. Hall 43 yards. Okay, single back again. Looks like 12 personnel. Yep, 12 personnel. We had a toss crack. ABT pulls. Lazard cracks. Blocked up pretty well. And Breece is he's obviously has some good open field speed. So again, toss crack off the jump. Nothing really to talk about. Rucker kicks his guy out, or kicks out the corner. He's obviously going to go inside of that, following ABT. Red hat outside. Take it vertical. Take it vertical. Can't squeeze that gap through ABT and Tippmann, so it takes it inside again. Again, pull the near leg. We talk about all the time. Elongate the stride, pull the near leg to avoid that hand. Awesome job. Now here, could he have, like really, again, I know I'm asking a lot here. I know there's gonna be one person like, oh, you're asking so much. You already got 43 yards. Do I think Breece more times than not gets away from this? Yeah. Like I think this season, if this happened, does he get away from this? I would venture to guess that he would. Do you want to see him maybe set up the block, like set up Conklin a little bit better and continue to the outside, maybe slow play it a little bit better? He does kind of undercut Conklin, and I guess there's some incidental contact with the feet, which makes Conklin fall. And he kind of does end up running right into the tackle. I think he could have done a little bit more thereafter, but again, I know I'm asking for a lot. Do not leave the comments. There's already one guy I know, like Leaky Photo, I was saying, like, I don't know if I was saying he's a good athlete, bad athlete, whatever, but like, I'll say like, oh, he's not a great athlete. It's relative to these guys. It's relative to NFL players. I say it all the time. I'll say like, oh, bad athlete. Oh, here comes a comment. Look at this guy in his downstairs, or they'll say mom's basement, even though I own my own house. Like, oh, he's saying he's unathletic. Relative to the NFL, yes, Alan Lazard is very athletic. Relative to the NFL, he's not a good athlete. He's not a good NFL athlete. Is that okay to say that? Like, do I have to be so clear all the time? Apparently you do. Hall, no chance. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys in the box. Yeah, man, makes sense. Takes the handoff. We got duo. We have McGovern. Tough spot for McGovern here. But that linebacker, Leo Chanel, shoots that backside A gap really well, undercuts it. So, situation where you want to see McGovern, adjust that a little bit better. Now, I would say his idea is like run his feet there and get a hand on or find it first. But once that linebacker starts creeping up and going to blitz that A gap, you could get like one step inside, pop up that near shoulder to get to the outside. We can't take 3 steps there. Can't take 3. You can take one hand to check them and get back to the outside. So not a good job on McGovern pre-snap. Ball is handed off. There's a guy on Breece immediately. We have Rucker who misses his block because he, tends to lean and duck his head a little bit. ABT doesn't do the best job versus Chris Jones. He leans a little bit. So we have some bad blocking by the Jets. No opportunity for Breece to make a play, unfortunately. Hall, 19 yards. Okay. I formation. I form right.